Intellectual retardation, which I would like to call political retardation. The failure to think realistically and progressively about one's political circumstance has a lot to do with the political oppression of black people. One of our biggest problems is we don't like to think for ourselves. We let hand-picked Negro leaders think for us. We have been married to the Democratic Party. For what? Why do black people vote Democrat every single election? Because the Democrats tell us that if we don't, the Republicans are going to harm us? My personal position is that we don't need to be married to either party, because both of them are racist, historically racist, contemporarily racist. Neither one of them cares anything about black people.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Levon Henson. I'm the director of Victims of Misfortune documentary series. The first installment of this documentary is entitled Changing the Pecking Order. And in this documentary, we will be discussing racism in America's criminal justice system and how this is affecting people of color nationwide, along with other social issues as far as police brutality, incarceration as a business, the history of indentured servitude in this nation. And we're asking that you support the film by making a contribution to our crowdfunding campaign. Also, you can share this on Twitter, Facebook, all your social media outlets. Help us create awareness, help us make history, and help us change lives.
By incarcerating black men, if you're in jail, you can't work. So by virtue of incarceration, you are automatically fired. So putting a black man in jail allowed a white man to go to work, and that's something that a lot of us don't understand when we deal with incarceration. Incarceration eliminates black competition for white jobs. Let me say that again. Black men going to jail eliminates competition with white men for jobs. So that was number one. The vagrancy laws sent more black men to jail, allowing for greater incarceration, more employment freedom and opportunity for white men. Second, they upgraded petty crimes into major offenses. So now things that would put you in jail for a couple days, a couple weeks, would put you in jail for years. Because now petty crimes like theft became felonies. So now you're going to jail for significant amounts of time. So that was number two. So number one, the vagrancy laws. Number two, the upgrading of petty crimes to felonies. And then the third thing that was done to pave the way for the modern mass incarceration system that we have, the government deliberately targeted crime that they considered to be black in nature. They looked at crimes that black folks were more likely to be accused of, not convicted. Remember, you went to jail then and now just for being accused. You don't even have to be guilty. 95% of all criminal cases in America are plea bargain. So even today, most black men and women in jail are in jail not because they're guilty, but because they cannot afford decent legal representation. So what the government did was they began to zero in on crimes that were more likely to be committed by black folks. And they focused on those crimes to the exclusion of crimes that were more likely to be committed by white folk, because incarceration is a function of crime plus focus. Crimes are being committed every day. Which ones do you choose to focus on? And the ones you choose to focus on are related to the population that you're deliberately trying to engineer into the jails.
I'm a former Los Angeles police narcotics detective, and I work South Central Los Angeles, and I will tell you, Director Deutsch, that the agency has dealt drugs throughout this country for a long time.
Warfare was about more than killing your enemy. It was about breaking your enemy's will to fight. And how do you do that? Destruction. You destroy homes, you destroy farms, you destroy infrastructure.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
And in this instance, though they didn't use conventional weapons, the aftermath of war was the same.
All these things that we're seeing right now are linked. They are linked with the drug war, paramilitary policing, and the large number of people who are being shot and killed or beaten to death in the streets.
Everybody want me to be calm. Do you know how them bullets hit my son? What they did to his body, if they hit his body.
When this bill is law, 3 strikes and you're out will be the law of the land. The savings will be used to put 100,000 police officers on the street. It will be used to build prisons to keep 100,000 violent criminals off the street.
We have private companies that build, manage their own prisons for profit with the promise of cost savings to the states.
How can slavery be over when you're still being forced to work for free?
And then once they're released, the same employees are suggesting they pose a liability concern and don't want to hire them when the data doesn't even show that.
White supremacy has understood that the best way to confuse a politically uneducated people is to let their own people do the oppressing.
I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook.
How you got a white person learning how to drum African traditional music? And y'all act like we ain't supposed to recognize this. They don't belong doing that. That's not them. And it's not about hating nobody. It's about protecting your cultural product. Every summer I'm seeing more and more white drums. 5 years from now, they're going to be all white. And you're going to be calling it racism when you're the one who gave them the damn drum. Like I'm seeing all these white folks get initiated into traditional African spiritual societies. All these white priests, all these white priestesses. What kind of stuff is that? We ain't supposed to know that it's going on, though. You got to go and get a reading from a white person about your ancestors. And guess what's going to happen in 20 years? You heard it from me. If we don't stop initiating white people into African magic, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have so many of it, so many of them, they're going to colonize the process. And you're going to have to get a college degree from Duke University in order to be a priest. I'm serious. This is what they do. You're going to have to take a test. You're going to have to pay some money. You're going to have to get a license exam to practice your spirituality. I was up in New York at the voodoo ceremony celebrating the Haitian Revolution. Beautiful ceremony. White folks all in it though. They even in voodoo. I thought they were scared of voodoo. See, somebody made us hate being race first. You're the only people in America who got a problem with being stingy with what belongs to you. You're the only people whose religions make you feel bad about loving yourself before you love anybody else. What did Dr. John Henry Clark said it? The essential selfishness of survival. You don't have that. You go shop in anybody's store, give anybody your $1. You see this winter storm going on. When Asian people or Korean folks or East Indians, when they get hungry, and it's a blizzard outside and your store, the only store open and the closest person they can find of their culture with the store open is 10 miles away, they will either go hungry or walk. Because their cultural commitment is too high. They can't even give you a penny of their money. But you will give them all of your money, go to a black business, and they do one little thing wrong, and you will never shop there again and badmouth the establishment. Chinese stop and go won't even let you go for a nickel. And you been shopping there since you was 5. Mama son, don't you remember me? I used to come in with my mama son, I'm only a nickel short. We cannot do. And you don't stop going.
This is a new era for me. I'm in a situation that can't be explained to the average American. I'm in prison with no direction. Through these years, I focused on helping myself, not relying on anybody's help. The lesson that I've learned is that I need someone's help. The biggest question now is, who will risk their life helping me? My mind is strong, but at times grows weak by the lies, the deception, and the evil ways of those in power. Who really belongs in here? Who's the real criminal? Who has the right to judge me for trying to survive in a world that has been founded on the same principles and actions that imprison me? The question now is how to survive in this. Should I continue to live like I was living? This world is a crazy place to be, but will death be the ultimate answer?